Take it easy. Okay.
Is that it?
That's it. I'm going to give you a lap. But I wanted to let you know what the flower was out there. You see it? All the white spots all around. There's some in 3 and 4. Is that what that stuff is? I've been wondering for 15 years what that stuff is.
Well, now you can aim for it.
Okay, let's go pick our spot.
Aim for it.
Atherton gets the best line of the night, and Rogers probably will.
He probably will.
Ricky Graham has the pole from Salinas, California. On the Honda, Chris CARR, the national champion, will line up second from Valley Springs, California. Then Atherton out of Michigan. Harley-Davidson mounted in for Larry Pegram, who's injured. There's Rogers from Richmond, Virginia on the Harley. He starts fourth after winning his heat. Steve Moorhead, the 37-year-old veteran from Findlay, Ohio. And Steve Beattie of Burlington, Ontario, Canada, round out the front row. That may be Steve's first front row start ever. Scott Parker, Rodney Ferris, Jay Springsteen, Will Davis, Jason Fletcher, and Ronnie Jones comprise row 2, 5 Harleys and 1 Honda. And in row 3, Danny Kelch, Aaron Hill, Joe Roeder, Chris Kaiser, and Brett Byer. 17 riders to go 25 laps on a rough and slippery half-mile on a West Virginia Saturday night. I guarantee you this is going to be a wild show. They wait for the green. There's the flash, and we're underway. The charge to turn number 1, and Ricky Graham has the early advantage. Chris CARR right on his rear wheel. But here comes Atherton around the outside, dodging the flower. Way to the top goes Moorhead. He's got Jason Fletcher and Scott Parker running with him. Bill, I don't think there's anywhere we go where there's more lateral distance, more side-to-side distance between the highest guy and the lowest guy on the racetrack. It's scary.
Oh, yeah. There's 40, 50 feet difference between the inside line and the outside line. You've got a multitude of ways to attack this race course.
And the problem is those lines all kind of come together somewhere up there on the exit. So it's a little like merging on the on-ramp, except you're doing it at about 100 miles an hour. Atherton doing it better than anybody. He has jumped out front. We're in for a heck of a main event here at West Virginia Motor Speedway. And we invite you to stick around for the action. We're back with the Grand National Dirt Track Tour at Parkersburg, West Virginia, actually the suburb of Mineralwells, and Kevin Atherton is your leader, and he has built a commanding lead over 92, Rodney Ferris, number 9, Jay Springsteen, and then come Chris CARR and Ricky Graham. It's actually hard to identify people. They run so far apart out here. It's difficult to see the numbers as we follow that battle through the top 5. Scott Parker got off to a bad start and has not made up for it, and so far, the guy who's really impressing me is Kevin Atherton.
Kevin Atherton is just sailing high, wide, and handsome. He's ignoring most of the bumps. He's running it up by the bail. He's truly running his own race.
And he's moving that line out further all the time. Springsteen alluded to that in his heat race. Here we see the CARR battle with Jay Springsteen, number 9, and Ricky Graham, number 3. That's 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Jay alluded to that earlier, that by running high, they keep moving the line up. There's a limit to that out there somewhere, the limit being defined by the hay bales.
Defined by the hay bales and your willingness to run close to them. Kevin's the most willing right now. He runs that rear wheel right up into that cushion, and just lickety-split, he's making time off those corners.
You see Jay and Ricky doing the same. This looks like the Springsteen of old. This guy, the 40-time national championship race winner, running 4th, but willing to mix it up with the kids here. Good shot up the front straightaway as they busted off into the corner. You see that glare that is part of the problem here as the racetrack gets polished off. Graham goes to the inside. Second time tonight he's made that surgical kind of a pass on Springer, and I expect Jay's getting a little tired of that.
Yeah, I think he's seen those leathers go by him once too often tonight, and he's going to see if he can get it back, but I don't know. Ricky's really flying tonight.
What Graham suddenly seems to be hooked up. He's just driving away from Jay Springsteen, and in turn closing a little bit on Chris CARR, number 1, who rides in 3rd spot. All alone in 2nd is Rodney Ferris, number 92. He's having that good night that he promised he would at the top of the show. And like the rest of these guys, he is fearless and willing to run it right up at the top. That camera location gives you a pretty good sense of the line that they run through the corner. They actually coming up and running right under the feet of our cameraman in turn 1 and 2. Here's your battle for third. The current national champion against the two-time champ, a pair of Californians, Chris Carr and Ricky Graham. And Graham is clearly going toward the front.
Ricky's just eating away at him, and it's going to be interesting. Well, right now, he just poked it in there underneath him. And, boy, that's like raving a red flag at a bull. That sparked Chris up. I think Chris is going to try to give him something back.
If this were motocross, it would be called a block pass. If it were sprint cars, it'd be a slide job. You pitch it in on the inside and just skate right up in front of the man in front of you. Full field run down here. We see number 44, Chris Kaiser. 98 is Beyer back toward the tail end of the field. A lot of separation, Bill, because this is the kind of racetrack where you're either fast or you're not. There's a big difference between the two.
Yeah, you're either cutting 24 to 25-second laps or 30-second laps. Those 26-second laps are just scary.
Great shot of Ricky Graham continuing to lead Chris Carr in the battle over third and fourth. Meanwhile, Atherton throwing the dirt up over the top of the hay bale. Presses on in the lead. This looks like the kind of racetrack where Kevin Atherton is going to make a statement tonight. He lost his Harley factory ride, as we alluded to earlier. He has come back in replacement of Larry Pegram. Pegram, number 72, normally rides the Texas Harley-Davidson. He was injured in a road racing crash at Phoenix, Arizona in February. Recovery has taken a bit longer than he thought that it would, and so he has surrendered that mount to Atherton, and Atherton is going to try to win a national with it, and if he does, it'll raise the interesting question, what happens when Pegram gets healthy and Kevin's got his motorcycle? Have they worked that out, do you know?
I don't know if they've worked it out, but the obvious answer would be, hey, 2 motorcycles, 2 riders, double the team.
They do have a spare bike in this stable run by Skip Eakin and sponsored by Texas Harley-Davidson, dealer in Dallas, who, among other things, provided a bike for the governor of Texas. Governor Ann Richards rides one of his motorcycles. Number 92, Rodney Ferris, having a great night tonight as we move past the halfway mark, hoping that scooter will hold together as the rest of the field come busting through. We got a glimpse of Scotty Parker pretty well back in the pack, running about 9th at this point. Graham finally able to get a little cushion over Chris Carr. In fact, he is leaving Carr behind now and setting his sights instead forward on number 92, Rodney Ferris. Ferris going to be tough to catch tonight. He's another one of those highline warriors who is not scared of the hay bales, and that's the key to this place. We'll be back with a finish. With 5 laps to go, I think there's one key question to ask Bill Werner. Will Kevin Atherton make this racetrack so wide that he actually goes up and runs into the hay bales before the checkered flag?
Well, if that's what it takes, I think he'd do it tonight.
And as Kevin runs ever higher, he now has a huge lead. Graham has inherited second as Rodney Ferris has dropped out. His bike is broken for the 2nd year in a row. Here come the lapped riders, Kelsch and Beyer and Kaiser. Then number 3, Ricky Graham. Here is Carr. Number 2, Scott Parker has burst through the traffic. Note that they are running in a lot of lap traffic now, but Parker has moved all the way up to 4th. Will Davis out back, number 21 on the Harley. Happy to just be in the main event this evening after his bike blew up early. Here you see Atherton. I'd say 18 inches tops the gap between he and the bales. Ricky Graham rocketing around. Doesn't look like he'll be able to continue that win streak. He swept last week at Springfield. I don't think he's going to make it here this evening. This is Atherton's race.
I don't think anybody's going to touch Atherton tonight. I mean, he's just mowing them away. He's making this look easy.
When you get that kind of momentum going, you really do move off into a different realm. He's not running the same race the rest of these guys are tonight. He can't do anything wrong.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You know, he's got a different line, and he's untouchable tonight.
Carr running in 3rd, but being caught by Parker. What a great run this is. Parker had fallen all the way to the back of the pack. Now he's making a last-ditch charge to try to get around Carr. Carr is your national championship point leader. Parker wants to beat him tonight in the worst possible way. Atherton doesn't care about points. He's not racing for the championship. He's just out to blitz him, and he's 1 lap, about 25 seconds away from doing that. Carr, number 1, is stuck in the lap traffic. Parker's going to make a last-ditch run at him. Here's Atherton looking back over his shoulder. What a great moment. He's won only one national race in his career, and if he doesn't hit the hay bales here, he's going to make it 2. Well, it was close. Off the final turn for the final time, Atherton had his second career national victory. Oh, and here comes Parker, and he got around CARR in the lap traffic at the wire. CARR shaking his fist at Danny Kelsch. He thought Danny should have gotten out of the way. Springsteen up to congratulate Atherton, who's pointing down at the front wheel. I'm not sure what that's all about, but Kevin is celebrating the national. And West Virginia is over. Thunder in the Hills belongs to Kevin Atherton over Graham, Parker, CARR, Rogers, and Springsteen. It was a good night for the Canadian Steve Beattie, who runs 7th. Jason Fletcher, Ronnie Jones, and Aaron Hill round out the top 10. Will Davis 11th, Danny Kelsch 12th.